a group of guys, of cinephiles, from a magazine there, Andrei Cinema. They organized a kind of, I don't know, European best films of the year, or things like that. And I was preparing, they showed videograms of a revolution. It was a new film, and I prepared. I was preparing to go to Moscow to start the work out of the present. And these guys from Andrei Cinema, they told me, "Oh, when you go to Moscow and make a film about Russian space travel, you must to see this." And they showed me Perishan's film called Our Century, which is a film about the accidents in the history of flight, from the first planes to the big space travel catastrophes in the 80s. And I was shocked because, to have the impression that you see suddenly a new grand old master. And they showed me also his masterpiece, Four Seasons, and so. And when then I started the work in Moscow, and I wanted to meet him, and so. In '93, they had in Dom Kino, there's a kind of Russian cinematheque in Moscow, the premiere of the. He made a diptych, two short films called The End and Life. And I was at the premiere, and so I was introduced, and so we
and these are the last films he made before this film, I believe.
Yeah, it's the last film before this film. Yeah.
I mean, you must have been. I mean, this is someone who really, quite consciously, was interested in developing montage from, with the inspiration of the early Soviet filmmakers, Esther Shub, Eisenstein, but really kind of going beyond what they were doing and kind of transcending what they were doing in a way. You're someone who has talked about Esther Shub's work as an inspiration maybe for what you do. You must have seen lots of things in his work that were really quite, I don't know, was there some kind of, what was your reaction to seeing his kind of approach to editing?
Yeah, Perishan, it's really a unique case, because in my opinion, and it's not only mine, he when he was a student in the early '60s, he took this decision not to be in his time or the time of his generation. He decided to go back in the '30s, early '30s, when the big Russian Soviet avant-garde was cut by Stalinism, and so, and to continue from there. To continue the Vertov, to continue the montage theory of Eisenstein, and so, and to have in mind also the theoretical questions of the period from the Russian formalists. They were interested at the time. At the time, the big problem was: is cinema a new art or not, or only a syncretic and mix of theater and literature and, I don't know, circus and pantomime and things like that, and if it is a new art, how to make the cinema to be equal with the big arts, with the real arts, no? So. Perishan was a representative of this very radical idea that cinema in a pure form, it's really not only a new art, it's a language. That's why he makes film without text. So, and when you use only images and music, so you have really a universal language. You don't need translation. And the theory of this, of him, and very few people who try to make like this, is that in fact we didn't had the devices to make films in the past, but the film is really can offer you the possibility to have a universal form of poetry who didn't need translation, and it's a kind of original language before the Tower of Babel, because before the separation in different languages. So yeah, that's it.
I mean, I think that's especially interesting considering this film because, of course, he's working in this idiom, or at least in a time in which images are so prolific and are everywhere. And of course, he's working with these images from many, many sources, digital sources. And it must have been so different from his earlier way of working. I don't know if you have much insight into this process exactly, but I'm kind of curious if you know, or what your feelings are about him. Kind of, I mean, even just thinking about it as a different physical process, you know, I can imagine him cutting his original films on film, and this is a film with a completely different technology.
Yeah, this was the biggest surprise, also for me. How is this fusion or meeting between the montage technique of the early avant-garde of the 20s and 30s with the digital images of today, and that gives, in my opinion, this film a very special form of modernity and contemporaneity. So, but the film itself, it's about really essential things. In fact, it's a film about time, about the different categories of time. That's why it's so the message is so universal. It shows the how to say it, the cut between the geological time, which is a completely another story, and our small time, the human ones, our biographical windows. They are really very, very small, because the geological times works in millions of years, not in the entire history of the humanity. It's I don't know, few 10,000 years. For the geological times, this is nothing, and this is the point here, and that's why it's so impressive. Sure, it's also a question of our guilt, if we are guilty that we destroy or disturb the balance of the natural cycles, but this is also a small scale, you know, because in the geological time, this kind of geological revolutions they take place when the supervolcanoes began to erupting. We are finished. We can do everything what we want to do. It's nothing to be done. Yeah, or when I don't know, an astral storm is coming. The atmosphere is so tiny when you are looking from space. When it disappears in 8 minutes. We disappeared the entire life on Earth, and so we can do American movies where the superheroes will save the world, but in this case it will not work. Yeah, it will surely not work. That's the point. Yeah.
I'll ask one more question and then I'll turn it over to you guys. And I wanted to talk about Pasolini, of course. And you talked a little bit about the production of the film and the long story of the film. But maybe just about Pasolini himself, and particularly this film that you're sort of basing your film on, at least using part of this the film scouting or film location scouting in Palestine.
Probably this is in first grade is a film for cinephiles, I love Pasolini. I always did this, and also as a person, as an intellectual, and as a filmmaker, and he has a number of masterpieces, and probably the biggest one is this, the Gospel according to St. Matthew, which is probably, in my opinion, the film with the best casting in the history of cinema. It's incredible. Each person, each face there. It's like a painting. Yeah, and when you know Pasolini and his story or his work, also it's. This here, the film, it's quite simple, because at the time when Pasolini did the Gospel according to St. Matthew, he was divided. From one side, he had a very strong Catholic education from his mother, and Pasolini was gay, and publicly, he outed at the time. It was a gesture for very, very courageous, and so like many people in his situation, he has an extremely strong relation to his mother, and so how to make a kind of acceptance between the Catholicism of his mother and his beliefs, because Pasolini was, as a young, his entire generation, a communist, and he was a member of the Italian Communist Party, and so and all this. And he wanted to make this film about Jesus. In Italy, it was very soon after the Second Vatican Concile in '62, and so the subject was very hot, and he decided to. That's why the film is also so good and so important. He saw in Jesus a kind of proto-revolutionary. What he is, indeed, it's nothing to, and that's why the most strong part in the film is this crisis of rage of him against the scribe and the Pharisees, which are the intellectuals of the period. That means the people they are in power of the discourse. Yeah. So, and in Pasolini's eyes, Jesus was the proto-revolutionary and the prototype of the artiste révolté, of the revolted artist. So. That's why he casted in the film in the role of the old Saint Mary, his own mother. This is clear because his mother born Pasolini, not Jesus, and this is a quite clear message. And in the movie, in the parts where Jesus is shown very clearly as a kind of early revolutionary, so the music he used in the film, they are Russian revolutionary songs, of course, which was playing from the Red Army Corps, or I don't know how to speak it, the word, yeah, and in Russian, yeah. So that's why I took on the end Tupac, yeah, because it's it's an answer to this when Jesus is walking to the Galilee to the songs of the October Revolution. Yeah, I can answer with Tupac. Yeah.
Do we have time for one question from the audience? No. One question. A question about accessing landscape through the cinema, through cinematic genre, and maybe that's the only way that we can kind of approach nature and landscape in many ways.
I think this is yeah. Yeah, this is a difficult question. In the two films, there are different perspectives, because in the small one, in the little one, in the Pasolini, it's built like a kind of, if you want, Pasolini is going to the Palestine, he's looking for a location, then he's on the border of the desert, and he has a kind of vision how it will be his movie. He sees some scenes of the movie on the beginning, Jesus and so on, then walking on the water, and from that point, it's a I don't know. It's another dimension. It's no more Pasolini. It's my commentary to it, and it's a kind in the relation with the landscape, or with the sea, with the storm. You don't know if they are the words of Jesus, of God, who creates the storm, or the storm originated his words. That's the point, and this point is is essential questions in the genesis of the very beginning, in the relationship between light and darkness, and the darkness is like a water. It's a dark water, and the light is coming. Yeah, and God says to be light, but to see the darkness, you need light. This is a very complicated thing. It's one of the most, of the deepest possible texts created in our history. So, in Perishan's film, the relation with the landscape is different, because the perspective from which the film is telling, it's not his, not the author's one, and it's not God who is looking at the earth. Yeah, it's the camera. It's a kind of, it's the cinema itself. Is the cinema itself as an apparatus. It was a dream of the classical avant-garde in the 20s. You remember the idea of Vertov was to create the perfect electric man. Yeah, it's the new man of the new period, and so the the purity of cinema is these people are thinking is the pure apparatus. It's a kind of substitute of God. It's a completely independent view and eye. And on the there's a finish on the end of the film, near to the end, he films some sleeping volcanoes. So this is very beautiful because they are a kind, if you are thinking about this, they are a kind of geological eyes. Yeah, and the geological time is looking at us, but we are blind. We cannot see them, and they are also blind because for them we are nothing. We are nobody, and so the rest you see it when the catastrophe begins. What's look like.
It's a beautiful image. I think we're gonna have to leave it there.
Yeah.
Please give a very warm thank you to Andrei Ujică.